The more that you step within yourself, you see what you have, you remove the blockages, that is when you're going to start to have better relationships, have a better career, have a better job, living more conscious life. Your nutrition starts to improve. Your business starts to improve. The relationships, the people that you have in your life, they start to level up because you're removing the low vibration things that you're holding onto in your body, and you're raising your vibration. You start to experiencing more love. Your heart starts to open up more, and the people around you feel that. The universe feels that, and it allows you to start receiving. You just have to open up yourself to it by removing the trapped emotions and traumas that you're holding inside that probably aren't yours. And that's the biggest advice that I can give you with that. And I hope that my story inspires you a bit to start looking within yourself and see what you're holding on to that's not allowing you to show up in the world as who you truly want to be. Because once you start looking inside, then you start to see that those things that you're carrying, they are not yours. They are not yours to hold. And they weren't the people who passed that down to you yours to hold either, theirs to hold. These things just have to be released. They have to be let go of. And then once we release that, we open up ourselves to this truly magical and beautiful life. And you get to start truly living. It is there for you. It is there. Welcome into the Conscious Coach Podcast. I'll be your guide in uncovering the path to finding your true self within. We'll dive into the power of conscious living, the significance of mindfulness, breathwork, and breaking free from hustle culture in our own personal growth. Through these intimate discussions, I'll share not only my own life experiences, but also those of remarkable individuals who have created impact in the world through becoming conscious so that you can do the same. What is up, and welcome in to the Conscious Coach Podcast, the first episode. I am so excited to have you here with me today, and I wanted to start the Conscious Coach Podcast for a while. I've actually had a lot of different names in mind, but the Conscious Coach was what came through. It actually was something that came through during a meditation, which is powerful stuff. So I know I had to roll with it, and it's really powerful for me to be able to speak and use my voice because I've been wanting to do it for so long. Just was waiting for the right time, and now here we are, and I'm excited to get this going, and I'm excited to keep improving. The Conscious Coach Podcast is going to be something about my personal journey through life, and I don't want that to sound cliche. But I've been through a lot in my life that has now allowed me to be in a better position than I was. I'm still healing. I am still growing every single day. The healing process never ends because we always have things that come into our lives that we have to experience and that we have to let go of. But I'm going to be sharing that journey with you to help you in your own personal journey. It's going to be conscious conversations with myself about the journey that I have been through, about my past, about what I'm learning in the present. And that's really what I do, is share my knowledge with you. And it's not going to just be me. It's going to be other coaches and entrepreneurs and people that I look up to, my mentors, people in the Austin community and around the world, because there are so many conscious coaches and entrepreneurs who have tried to break free and have broken free from the hustle culture and the grinding, which I know that I was in. So I want to hear their stories, hear their messages, to allow you to be able to learn as the viewer, as the listener, so that you can start to live a more conscious life yourself. Maybe you are a coach or an entrepreneur trying to break free from hustle culture, trying to have more awareness and presence in your days and not be grinding and hustling and not be stressed out and anxious. I know that I was there, and this podcast is going to be for you. I'm excited for it to grow, and I'm excited for it to touch your lives and many others. And starting out with the first episode today, what I want to talk through is my personal journey about becoming more conscious. I was in a place in my life where I was depressed, anxious, and I wanted to commit suicide. That's where I was about 2 years ago. And I want to talk about my personal experience from being in that lowest, deepest, darkest place in my life to where I am now, where those negative feelings and emotions still come up, but I know how to handle them so much better so that they don't have to close my heart and close me to the life that I know that I am supposed to be living. It's not like everything just vanishes, but you do start to feel better each day. You do start to feel more aware and present. And when that happens, your conscious way of living starts to infiltrate into all aspects of your life, your health, your business, your relationships, your environment, your love life. All these things start to align more deeply with you when you learn how to open your heart. So let's go back to where I was at about 2 years ago. I was in a position where I was feeling down, if we want to put it like that. I was feeling down. I was in a dark place. So I went to college for exercise science, and then I did an internship, and I started working as a strength and conditioning coach in a place right next to my hometown in Rhode Island. I was working under my strength and conditioning coach for college football. I was an athlete. I was an athlete from the time I was 5 years old, 4 years old, playing football. I played football. I played baseball. I played basketball. I ran track. I did everything in high school, and I went and played college football as well. So I graduated, I became a strength and conditioning coach, and I was doing that, and that's what I thought was going to be my future. Eventually, I was put in a position where I was very manipulated. I went through a toxic relationship as well with a girl that went to the gym there, and it was like everything came together at once. I went through the toxic relationship and we decided to break up, and I thought it was the end of my life. I also went through really manipulative behavior from my boss and somebody that I looked at as my brother. And I also got punched in the face by one of my friends and got another concussion. And I had dealt with a multitude of concussions going throughout college and high school and even when I was a young kid. And so this all came together, and this was about 2.5, 3 years ago. And I knew I had to do some deep work for myself. At the time, I didn't really know how. And that is also when COVID hit too. So I was in my house after a breakup with my parents in Rhode Island, and I just tried to numb myself as much as I possibly could. It was a lot of drinking, a lot of spending time on the phone, playing even video games during COVID, during that time. And eventually I went back to school. I went to school for nutrition and metabolism at Boston University. I lived in Boston for a little bit. And then I knew that was not for me. I knew it wasn't for me. It was Zoom University and I wasn't learning anything, and I had to break free from that. So I decided to book a plane ticket and I went to California, and I spent some time in San Diego, and I found a mentor who got me into meditation at first. And that's really where this started to evolve. However, it was not the end of the road. I lived in California for a bit, and then I came to Austin, where I am now. And in Austin, I was alone. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any furniture. I had nothing. But I wanted to start to make a life for myself, and I did. And at that time, it was a lot of grind, a lot of hustle. I was making content. I was just trying. I was trying anything. And this all led me to a point where it was last year. So about 1.5 years ago is really when things started to change. I got into a business relationship again that fell through. I had a romantic relationship with this person as well as a business relationship. People around me thought it was a good idea. So I moved from Austin to Houston, and I lived there for about 2.5, 3 months. And during that time, the business relationship fell through, the romantic relationship fell through, and I was just in the deepest, darkest place in my life. I had an eviction notice. The person that I was working with took all my money, and I had nothing. I literally had nothing. But I went to a conference for a coaching business that I was a part of. I also got fired from that coaching business because somebody in Austin that had like a vendetta against me talked crap about me to the owner of the coaching business, which was not true. And I had all that coming together at once, but I still went to the conference for the coaching business. I just sucked it up and I went. And during that time, I was sitting next to the person with the business relationship that fell through. At this time, it was like I knew I had to get out of it. I didn't know how. And everybody on the stage was talking about speaking their truth and being authentic to themselves. And I had a really like heart to heart moment with myself. And I was asking myself, am I being true to myself? And the answer was absolutely not. I'm not being true to myself at all. I'm doing things in comparison with others. I'm comparing myself to others all the time. I'm doing what others think about me. I haven't really ever been truly myself. I haven't shown who I truly am. I know I have all this power inside of me. I know I have this light, but I have never shown it truly. I've been living in my shadow my whole entire life without the light coming through to shine, ever. It's been darkness. And I got really real with myself in those moments. And I knew that I had to start making changes. I wrote it down in the journal that they gave us. Like, I need to start speaking my truth. I have to get out of the situation that I am in and just be myself. And that was a really hard decision. And that business relationship, when I left there on the way home, the business partner was supposed to be paying me, and this person did not. And I just had to suck it up and be like, all right, I'm just going to, whatever comes of this, but I know I have to get out. And so I was by myself in Houston, Texas, and I decided to start speaking my truth. And I did. And I started posting on social media 2 times per day. I started putting out videos. I started being my true authentic self. And over time, it started to pick up. At the time, I had about 2,000 followers on social media. And then it started to go to 3,000. I remember sitting in a coffee shop just refreshing my Instagram, and it was at like 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000. I woke up one day and it was at 17,000, and it just kept going up. And the followers was not the main thing. It was just validating. It was like the universe saying, hey, you're going in the right direction. Like, people are now starting to listen to you from speaking your truth. And I would get messages every day about how I was helping people in their lives, change their lives. And this was coming out of nowhere, and clients started to flow to me, and my business started to grow. I decided to go off in business on my own, and it started to grow and grow and grow. And it allowed me to move out of Houston. It allowed me to move back to Austin, never doing that whole situation again. That was just, looking back on that, it's funny to think about, but it allowed me to move back to Austin, and it allowed me to come to a better place in my life. But it was not done yet, because I hadn't dealt with the demons that I was holding inside. I hadn't dealt with the scarcity, the fear, the lack, the unworthiness that would eat at me every single day. So I had this beautiful business that I was building. I had a nice apartment. I was doing pretty good financially. But I remember sitting in my office one day and thinking to myself, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Yes, I'm in a better financial spot, but I'm working from 6 a.m. in the morning until 10 at night. I never shut off. I just keep going and going and going and thinking that the next day will bring me some satisfaction and will bring me some happiness. And it never came. And I remember sitting out in my courtyard and contemplating leaving this earth, because I had no rhyme or reason to be here. I was just doing things that I thought I had to be doing. I thought I had to be posting on social media every day. I thought I had to establish this business. I thought I had to make a lot of money. And it was just a lot of things that I thought I had to be doing that would eventually bring me happiness. But it never did. It never came. So I was like, what is the point of this? And shout out to my life coach that I had at that time, Sean, because he allowed me to see that there was another way to live life where I didn't have to constantly struggle and constantly be in pain. And he introduced me to a couple individuals, my now brother and friend Justin and Sam and Drea, who introduced me to plant medicine. So I was in a really dark time in my life, and I met Justin. And I had known about breathwork, and Justin is like the most conscious breathwork guy that you will ever meet. And I started going to his house for his live sessions. And I started to feel different. And I went to one of his sessions, and I went through, it was about an hour long of breath work. And in that session, I remember seeing myself as a child in a dark room in a corner crying, just crying. And I remember feeling like no one listened to me. No one knew who I was. No one knew how to love me. And I started to see that that was how I was living. I was living as the 5-year-old Jake that didn't know how to be loved, that didn't feel listened to, that just felt different. And I had that stored inside of me. And so I knew I had to start healing. I knew I had to start healing that little Jake inside. And I started to. It was hard, and I started doing breathwork every single morning. Justin had breathwork recordings, and I started doing them every single morning. He had a 15, a 30, and a 60-minute recording. I would either do the 15, or when I had time, I would do the 30 and 60. And I started to do that every single day. And I eventually worked myself up to doing the 60-minute, an hour-long breathwork every single morning. And more, I started to feel more love in my heart. And I started to feel better. And then Sam and Drea came into my life. They are 2 Bufo facilitators. Bufo is a form of plant medicine. It comes from a toad. It's 5-MeO-DMT. The experience is about 25 minutes where you're just shot off into the universe. But for me, it's a direct connection with source. Whatever you believe in, for me, it's source. You might call it God or the universe. For me, it's just source. And I was incredibly scared, but I went for my first Bufo experience, and Sam and Drea helped me a lot with that. And that day changed my life forever. Before the experience, we did some breath work, we did some meditation, and I saw all of my ancestors around me. I saw my parents, I saw my grandparents. I have 3 sets of grandparents because my dad's parents divorced. I saw all of them. I saw my great-grandparents. I saw my great-great-great-great-great-grandparents, and they were all around me in a circle. And they were just watching me. And it felt this deep sense of, you are healing for all of us. And they were so proud of me in that moment. And I was incredibly scared and incredibly uncomfortable because I had no clue what to expect. But I knew that I had to do it because I knew I had to heal for them. I had to heal all their pain, and I had to heal all their suffering. So I remember sitting there, and Sam, he had this piece of paper that I read. It was about how I was going to be open and surrendered and heal. And he came over to me, and it's 3, you take 3 deep breaths, and then he lights the Bufo, and it looks like it comes out of like a crack pipe. But he lit it, and I inhaled, and I held my breath for as long as I possibly could. And I remember the medicine feeling it for the first time, incredibly intense, like I was going to burst out of my skin. I was like shaking uncontrollably. And I remember immediately purging to my right, which is your liver purging. It was bile from my liver, which we hold a lot of anger and resentment in. And just being taken away. I don't really remember the time in between when I first inhaled and when I woke up. I just knew waking up, I opened my eyes and I said to myself, I will never be the same person. That was the moment where I found a meaning to life. I understood why I was here. I started to remember that I am a part of something so much bigger than I could ever possibly imagine. And I felt it for the first time. I felt one with the universe. I felt one with every single thing around me. And I went in for my second round, and I went in for my third. And by the end of the third round, I remember sitting there, and I remember looking up into this space. I was in like a teepee type thing, and I remember looking into the space, and it was a big window. So there was this window there, and I remember seeing the clouds, and it was cloudy, and I saw the clouds part. And at that moment, I could breathe through my nose for the first time. I felt so connected with the universe, and I felt so connected with everything that is. I just became one with myself, one with everything in this world. And it gave me such meaning and such purpose to life, to just be. And from that moment forward, I was never the same person. This eventually took me to ayahuasca, my first ayahuasca ceremony in Costa Rica, which completely changed my life. During that time, I healed for my mom. I healed for my mom's mom. I was carrying every single thing from the feminine side of my family. We heal, when we do our healing, we heal for 7 generations behind us, and we heal for 7 generations in front of us. And I was holding every single thing from those 7 generations behind me. And I felt that. And it actually wasn't during the ayahuasca. We sat with ayahuasca 3 nights. It was during a breathwork session in between the ayahuasca ceremonies where I felt my mom and I felt her pain, and I held her and we cried together. And I will never forget that moment. Just after that, I remember sharing with everybody there. Like I remember sharing that I healed my mom's pain. I healed my mom's pain. I healed their suffering. And they didn't have to carry that any longer. And I took on that responsibility to do it. And I know that from that ayahuasca ceremonies, from those ceremonies, I was healing not only for myself, but I was healing for my whole family, because I saw all my family there with me, floating and dancing. And this is how powerful this work is. I mean, holy shit, it's so powerful. So from that moment, from that experience, I saw how to have a beautiful relationship with a woman that I didn't know how to have before, because I was searching for love in another person. And I was lacking things, and I was searching for that in other people. Can you love me? That was the relationship that I would get in. I am not capable of feeling love myself. Can you love me? Can you please give me that love? That's basically what I was saying when I was getting into relationships. That's the energy that I was giving off. And that's why I attracted other people that didn't know how to love either. And that's what I was attracted my whole entire life. So with Mother Ayahuasca, and what she taught me was, or it's more so in those experiences, it's my higher self teaching me. That is what I feel in breathwork and any plant medicine. It's my higher self teaching myself. So I saw how to have a relationship with a woman, and it was a beautiful experience. And I actually saw my woman, and it was a blonde woman, tall, and I saw us all together holding our kids, our 2 children, Jake and Samantha. Now, my partner, Allison, she doesn't like those names, but we'll work on it. But I saw this beautiful woman, and I saw how to have a relationship. So 2 weeks later, I come home, and I'm at Justin's house. Justin, my friend and mentor, and he has these get-togethers, and he's been working with this girl named Allison, doing breathwork sessions. And I didn't know Allison at the time, didn't know her name, but she walks into Justin's house, and immediately in that moment, it was like, this is your person. All that healing that you did, all that struggle, all that pain, all that work, going through the ceremonies, being so uncomfortable, this is that person. And I just felt it in the moment, and I just knew that's her. That is the girl. Allison is blonde and tall. That's her. And from that moment, Allison and I have had an incredible and beautiful relationship where it's just the most connected that I have ever felt to somebody in my entire life. She gets me. She understands my weaknesses and she understands my strengths, and she helps me in accountability in life. Like, they talk about twin flames and soulmates, but that's truly what she feels like. That is her. It's like, this is my first time meeting her in as Jake in this flesh suit, but it is, my soul knows her. My soul, I'm going to get emotional for a second. My soul knows who she is. And it does not feel like the first time that I've ever met her. It feels like our souls have lived together for many, many, many lifetimes. And it's a beautiful, beautiful to experience. It's like we're both guiding each other. And it's really beautiful. So that was November of last year. And then it kept going deeper. I knew that I had to start sharing the breath with others. I had to start sharing breath work, because in my ayahuasca ceremony, the second night, it showed me that I had to go to this conference or go to this certification called somatic breathwork, somatic release. I had to go there because I was contemplating it. I had to go, I had to learn. And so that was what I did. When I got home, I got on the call, I booked the flight, I booked the trip, I paid however much it was, and I went there. And that was December 1st of last year, and I became certified in somatic breathwork. During the somatic breathwork certification, I did even more healing for myself. This healing process, it goes deeper and deeper and deeper. But in that process, I was going through a very, very powerful, more powerful than any plant medicine that I've done during the breath work. It was with 40 people. I was just screaming at the top of my lungs like a lion, just letting things out. And I had this like 70-year-old woman that was guiding me. We like switched off. I held her during her breathwork session. She held me. And I just remember her being there like, let it out, Jake, let it go, let it out. And I was just, because I just had so much built up inside of me and I had to let it go and I had to clear the space. And once I cleared the space, I had a hand come down and say to me, and he placed his hand on me and he said to me, you must lead with the breath. You have every single thing that you need inside of you. You have all the knowledge, all the wisdom. You must lead with the breath. And I remember him like sending his breath into me. And he said, you must lead with the breath. And from that moment on, I wrote that down in my journal. I must lead with the breath. And that has been my life since. Now, like I said, this healing process does not end. So as soon as I became a breathwork facilitator, I started giving out free sessions. I had a home where I had a little bit of space. And in the first 2 weeks of getting my certification, I did 15 one-to-one breathwork sessions. I knew this was my calling. But I was still holding on to some things. I still was holding on to scarcity, some lack. When Allison and I were going through our relationship in the beginning, it was like, I kind of knew how to love her. I kind of knew how to give her love. And it was the same for her. We like knew we were supposed to be together, but there was some like blockages up. So this took me into another plant medicine ceremony with Drea, who was my first Bufo facilitator with Sam. And I went through that experience. And through that experience, I finally let go of the scarcity that my mom and my mom's side of the family was holding on to. So the feminine side of my family was holding on to so much scarcity and fear. And it was just so strong. And I was outside. It was a psilocybin ceremony, so mushrooms. And I was outside and I was just walking back and forth outside in the grass for 4 hours, just letting go of things and like feeling things leave me. And I just remember I was speaking to my grandma, my grandma's grandma, my grandma's grandma's grandma. And I was speaking to them and I was saying, these things were not yours to hold. You don't have to feel this pain. It wasn't your fault. And we like embraced together. And I finally felt it leave. Finally. And after that, it was the most beautiful experience of my life. Drea, during the time, she is the one who certified me in Reiki. I'm also certified in Reiki. And so she did Reiki on her like crystal healing bed while I was in the middle of a mushroom ceremony. It was wild. It was a wild experience. I remember walking inside and I had like a glass of water. If you're listening to this, you won't see, but I have a glass of water here. And I remember I would take a sip of water and my face would fall into the cup. It would just suck me in and suck me in. And I went through that and I went inside and I went to the crystal bed and I finally lay down and there were 4 women doing Reiki on me while I'm in this extremely intense mushroom ceremony. And I remember, I'm going to tell you guys because I'm here to be as open and as honest with you. But I had my universal lineage family come through. And I actually have the picture that I painted in the closet over here after the ceremony. But they told me I'm a part of the Sambian universal lineage. And this might be super woo-woo to you, but this stuff is real. You choose what you want to believe in. But they spoke to me and they said that I'm a part of the Sambian lineage and I am one of the leaders and I am here to help heal this planet. And that my Sambian lineage has been holding a lot of pain recently because of the pain that these planets are feeling. And we're trying to heal, but we're having a hard time. And the women of my lineage are having a really tired time and like being pretty disrespected by men. So I'm here as a warrior to help heal the feminine and masculine side of my lineage by using breathwork. So if you wonder why I'm so passionate about breathwork, it's because there's levels to this shit. And that is why I'm here. And that might be woo-woo to you, but if you experience this and you keep going on your healing journey, you'll see. You'll eventually see. Or maybe you won't, and that's okay. But that's why I'm here. So after that, I've kept doing breathwork. I've just kept sharing it. I've been finding ways to integrate it into my life. But after that day is truly when I started to feel more healed. The healing process always continues, but I didn't feel like I was holding on to fear and scarcity any longer. And so I went and lived in Tulum for 2 months with Allison and my friend Darmesh. We stayed there. I did a lot more healing there and just allowed myself to be open and kind of break free from the hustle and grind that I experience here in Austin. And it gave me a really new aspect of life. And it allowed Allison and I to grow our relationship and just to allow the nervous system to reset. And since then, I've come back to Austin and I've just been going hard with breathwork because it is such a powerful tool. I host sessions weekly. I've been doing 2 to 3 group sessions a week. I've been doing 5 to 10 one-to-one breathwork sessions a week and just seeing the transformations that people have been having. This is what my healing came from. This is what going into the deep darkness and feeling those things that I was holding onto allowed for. It now allows me to hold space for others and see their beautiful transformations that they have. And something I really want to hit on here is that with your business, with your career, with your life, with your relationships, if they're not at where you want them to be, it's most likely because you're holding on to the limiting beliefs, the traumas, and the trapped emotions that your family passed down to you. And so it's your job and your responsibility here on this earth to release those things so that you can give your unique gift to this world. Because if you don't, you are letting yourself down, you're letting your family down, and you're letting down the people of this planet. You came onto this planet for a reason. And that reason is to share your unique gift. We all have a unique gift and a talent within us that nobody else shares. And it's up to you to start sharing it, but you have to remove the blockages in order to do it. That is what was the biggest thing for me. And the biggest thing that I have learned and that I can share with you now is that you have to do the deep work because you have this unique special talent within you, and it's only going to shine its light when you remove the darkness that you're holding inside. And it's okay if it's a continued process. It's not all going to happen overnight. Definitely did not for me. But the more that you step within yourself, you see what you have, you remove the blockages, that is when you're going to start to have better relationships, have a better career, have a better job, live a more conscious life. Your nutrition starts to improve. Your business starts to improve. The relationships, the people that you have in your life, they start to level up because you're removing the low vibration things that you're holding onto in your body, and you're raising your vibration. You start to experiencing more love. Your heart starts to open up more, and the people around you feel that. The universe feels that, and it allows you to start receiving. You just have to open up yourself to it by removing the trapped emotions and traumas that you're holding inside that probably aren't yours. And that's the biggest advice that I can give you with that. And I hope that my story inspires you a bit to start looking within yourself and see what you're holding on to that's not allowing you to show up in the world as who you truly want to be. Because once you start looking inside, then you start to see that those things that you're carrying, they are not yours. They are not yours to hold. And they weren't the people who passed that down to you yours to hold either, or theirs to hold. These things just have to be released. They have to be let go of. And then once we release that, we open up ourselves to this truly magical and beautiful life. And you get to start truly living. It is there for you. It is there. So I hope that you start getting there. Start looking within. See all the power that you hold. See what's blocking you from it, and start to open yourself up. Start to open your heart. I believe in you, and you can do this. If you need more help, shoot me a message on Instagram, and I hope that you enjoyed today's first episode. That was a powerful one. I got a little bit emotional. I loved sharing my story with you, and I'm really excited for what this podcast is going to be able to do and the message that it's going to be able to share. If you liked today's episode, please send me a message on Instagram. Please reach out to me and just let me know what you want to see. Let me know what you want me to talk about, who you want me to have on, the conversations that you want me to have with those people, and how I can help you, because that is truly what I want to do. Let's all become more conscious together. If you're a coach, if you're an entrepreneur, let's become conscious together so that we can truly leave our impact in this world, in this small, short time that we have here. Let's make an impact together. Let's come together as a community. Let's become conscious coaches, and let's become conscious together. Please leave a like. Well, I'm just starting out this podcast. Leave a like, leave a review, share this with a friend. Do whatever you can to help spread this message. I thank you so much for being here today with me, and I'm sending you so much love, and I can't wait to see you on the next episode. Peace. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And if you're listening, leave a 5-star review. I also wanted to let you know I just released a subscription that is Becoming Conscious. You get access to guided breathwork recordings as well as guided meditations from 5 minutes all the way up to 60 so that you can start living a more conscious life. You can click down in the description and you'll get access to it for free for 7 days. I hope that you enjoy. I'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.